Here's a little shortcut. If you're ever wondering, like, you ever need precise control over where your layers begin and end for your pre-comps, I'm holding down Shift, and it's snapping to the end of that video clip, okay? Like, that's the longest that this file is. But really, the images end there, okay? So, does this stuff carry over to the next scene or no? Okay, so I held down Shift to get to the end of that layer right there. And if I hit Alt and the bracket by the letter P, that's good. That's where that's snapping. Now this one, okay, I see that stuff coming in, right? Looks like you're pretty good with where your stuff lines up. Now for this. Here we are. Watch your compositing, which I discussed in that 1 week. Like, here's the fog. Wait, is that's the fog in the background? Oh, nope, that's the fog in the front. Okay. Right. Need to close some of these. All right, so let's. Okay. So if I close some of these that aren't, because you could always get back to them at main animation. Okay. I'm just testing something out. Okay, here we go. We'll go here. So there is some red to this. It's not having it sit in the scene. I'm going to throw hue saturation on here, okay? And you'll see my thinking in a second. So I've got my effect. I'm going to click here for look at this, edit that. Now we can see it in the final scene. So this is another good use for look at this, edit that. So first I could try the hue. See if that's going to be doing. Yeah, see, that's doing something, so. See the difference there? So it's just taking away a little bit of that color. And we'll go back here. I'll throw curves on there. And I'm going to select curves. Look at this, edit that. Bring down that a little bit. Because if the Background, good listening, less contrast in the background, less saturation in the background. There'd be more punch and pop in the foreground. Like if you see the shoes and the color of the soil and the density of it, if this is going over, it's semi-transparent, it would be darker than that fog there. You know what I mean? And just a reminder for anyone who doesn't know curves, these are your shadows, your mids, and your highs. And you could add more than one point to your curve to get it to look the way you want. I mean, it's really up to you. And you see how that crunches things. You can also do an alpha curve where you adjust how transparent or opaque something is. So that's one neat little feature of After Effects there. That's where we were. That's where we're at now. Come on. So, like I said, you could mess around with that. I'm going to go rename this so that you can have it for your reference in addition to the recording. I'm going to drop down this res so we can see it. Some interesting stuff happening here. Now, I would be consistent here when it's going behind the top of the house. That should stay behind the top of the house the whole time. See, so that's a fast, easy fix. Else. Okay, a lot of shape layers there. So let's push this a second. Just to mess around, because that's what LabTime's all about. I'm going to put the type above the adjustment layer, okay? See what light rays does over that red you added? Add some atmosphere, and you can animate that. You can change the intensity of it, the radius as well. Once you start to mess around with it, you should be at full res to get the full idea of what it does. Okay, so that's what light rays does. That might be neat there. I'll put that there just so that you could have it for reference. Okay, the sky's moving in the background. Nice. I didn't notice that because I was at a lower resolution shot, so I bet there's a lot of subtlety I'm missing out seeing it at a lower res. But now you can see it moving okay. Now this person, the motion's great. They appear very abruptly. Okay. Yeah, the rigging is very nice. Maybe it's even something like a light flash causes it to happen. Okay, I see what you got going on there with that. Just be careful because that looks a little haphazard, right? Looking good. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I like your layering. I know you're missing the fonts. I mean, I'm missing the fonts. Watch what happens if we're here, we're there. That's one pre-comp, so I clearly clicked on the wrong one. This one. There we go. There. Gotcha. What's going to happen is the flare in here. All your light effects are in here. That explains it. Okay. See something real quick. Copy this. Hide that layer for a second. Paste them in here. And I don't know where they start. Let's just say they start here, just for the fun of it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put these below your light effects. Let's see. Okay, so now it's a really strong effect. It's like mostly illegible, so we can't go doing that. But I have another idea. Go here, we'll turn that back on. What's going to happen if we try blending mode? Luminosity might help it sit in, like as the colors change. You know what I mean? Like that might be the most mileage you can get out of it. Is using like a luminosity blend, because then it's going to look a little bit more tied into the scene. And like I said, a flash of light might help there to have that reveal. Mm-hmm. Well, I hear you on that. Let's experiment there. Let me try, just for the fun of it. This is light first. And we're going to use our crosshairs just to get some quick positioning. And I'm going to work it full res, just to get a better idea. The fade. Color. So what might look like with lightning is we'll go like 2 frames. You. Come on. So I'm going to keep that number the same for 2 frames. 800. I'm going to go 1 frame, change it to 0. So that's going to be, and then right before it, I'm going to set it to 0. This could be a quick flash. See what that looks like. So that's a little bit on there so far. 800 is too much. Move these a little closer together. Shorter. It's a faster effect. Something like that might help. Light burst. That one more time. Quick flash of light. Okay, so that was light burst. Let's try. If we can colorize this. This is just glow, and I messed around with some of the settings. I'm putting the composite behind, so the glow's on top. That's helping soften a little instead of doing a screen. Let's set that back to white because that's not working. And what you could do is go like, 1 or 2 frames at you. I'm going to hide light burst. It's up a little bit. So that'll only be on for like a couple frames. And then right after it, you set all those back to 0. And you know what? The threshold should be at 100. My bad. Then, again, right before it, threshold 100. The other two at 0. See that? Quick burst. That one, that might help. Another one that might work is and so I put strobe on here. That might be too intense. Yeah, see that's bad for people with light sensitivity. We're not going to do that one. Maybe it's even just combining both of these, just lining up your keyframes, you know? Let's see what 2 effects do together. That's looking interesting. Now the glow got a little intense there, but we could always change those numbers. And additionally, if there's these effects would probably be better in the inside the comp. Let me copy those. We'll figure out what we're going to put them on. Not there. Very smart using the lights. Okay, here we go. See how you have that mask? What if I put them on this layer? Let's. see? So that way, one of the problems here is it should go beyond that and light the room up. So maybe it would be okay. All right, all right, all right, all right. So for that, let's try this. You ready? I think we're almost there. I'm gonna hit M for mask, because clearly you have masks. And don't forget, one of the beauties of masks is you've got mask expansion. So I'm gonna hit U for my mask expansion on all these. 1 second. There's mask expansion. I'm just closing these and clicking on the keyframe for it, and I'll show you why in a second. Because when I hit my U key, I'll only have the keyframes for mask expansion as well as what I did for my effects. Almost done. It's a little tedious, but that's what good motion design's all about. It's like attention to detail. Yep. All right, here we go. Now I hit the U key. Let's see. Here they are. All right. So this is where the glow starts to happen. All right. And what we can do is go back a frame. Add all those. So right here, when the flash happens, you can go mask expansion. Which one that one was? Right there. Look what happens. 1 second. So if we did, let's do 320. It will change each one of them to 320. Actually, let's try even more. Okay, that's what that's doing is that's blowing out the shapes. That's not going to work. So that's that. This one right here. I'll paste my effects in there. And if you do it tight enough, like you have them close enough, you might be able to cheat it. Because you want this to be brightest, but you also want the rest of the room to light up. But you see how now we're getting that difference because of the window? So that works a little bit better. So we've got the effect on the window, which is masked in here, but a little bit brighter, and then in the room. And we could keep those keyframes, but tamp down the amounts. So like when we go to light burst intensity, instead of 800, let's try 300. It's getting lost in the scene. Okay, so 4,500. Then the glow radius. You crank that up more. See, now it's amplifying the light rays. Okay, so just remember when you're looking at this, we only started messing around here. So like I said, it's a little bit of experimenting. It's like, you want to keep this shadow, but the room itself would also lighten up as well. Is that solid black? So if she's before the window, trying to work this out. One sec. See the difference with that? That helps. Damn, I can't figure out which bars are just a shadow. There we go. This one right here. Let's see what happens if we put this at the top. Oh, that's where the effects are. Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. Any other questions on this? It's coming along nicely. Watch the leg, that hard end right there. I like the jittery motion you've got. Great follow through and overlapping motion. Really sharp. You Yeah, you used a double step with Duik. Okay, did my playlist help you out somewhat? Yeah. And I purposefully made that playlist short videos named by topic so that you could only focus on what you wanted to learn. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, I really like the perspective walk. Okay, so let me try something out. So we're walking here. I'll go to here. We'll change that from 100% to 0, and that should make it stand still. Let's find out. Slows down, comes to a stop. Here's my keyframes, general motion. 100 is your walk cycle. So I clicked that stopwatch on. I said, how long do I want it to slow down? I just randomly chose a second. So I went from 100 to 0 with the general motion, and that's how you stop your walk cycle in Duik. Yeah, what I'm saying is if you want the character to come to a stop somewhere, that's how you do it. Okay, great. And there we go. So with these hand controllers, I think all the S, like the structures, I think those you can shy. I haven't used Duik in a little bit, but yeah. So anything with an S, you can shy that. Just click on shy enable, and then the little person's sticking their nose over the fence. Shy enable. I think you can do the same with your artwork too. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, so the artwork is already parented to your rig. So now look at your timeline. That's it, just your controllers. Oh, and I've noticed head, neck, body. None of these controllers are parented together yet, but your walk cycle is working. Which is weird. Because this is allowing me to move your rig. Okay, now it's allowing me to do it. Foot, hand. Wonder why the hands aren't moving. But yeah, it's looking nice. We'll see what's going to happen with the rest of it. And don't forget, if you've got a walk cycle, and you want it to look like this is all one giant thing, I could go to composition settings for here. 1920. Let's say it's twice the width. 3840. Okay. Now we're seeing a bit more here. Spread that out a little bit. So I made this twice as wide as your composition. That gives us some walking room. If I go to your walk cycle, here's where he starts to slow down. And I can say, how fast is he walking? I'll go here, over a little bit. That looks like. See the difference? And then as he slows down, so we went 1200 roughly to 900. So that's 300 over 3 seconds. So 100 per second. Then we're going to go one more 100 because there's another second. So that'd be 815. Comes to slow down, and there you go. Like that. So that's how you cheat the background moving with your walk cycle. And the general motion in the walk cycle for Duik, 100% is walking, and we keyframed it from 100 down to 0 to get the character to be standing still. Any other questions on any of this? Okay, so if we go to the head bob, I mean, seen it update here. Energy, mess around with that. A little softer walk, a little more energy. The more energy gives the limbs more of a swing, and the softness is basically the steps that's taking. So you, yeah, 1 second. See, the less soft cycle works for this because it gives it that jittery bone motion. I like that, you know. I think the dance with, like, let's try 7 for here. See if it gives it even more rattle. See how rattling those bones look? And then weight. Let's give it more weight. It should have less weight just because it's bones. So let's decrease that weight. Yeah, see, having less weight, because it's just bones makes more sense. So it's really just playing around with that until you get the type of, like that's not bad either. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. Very happy with it so far. Mm-hmm. Okay. You'd have to re-rig the whole character. I think I like the skeleton. I wasn't even thinking Mamu when I saw this. I love your art style. I think you did a great job on it. I love the rig and the motion. I wouldn't get too wrapped up in it. No pun intended. If you do a mummy, it's gonna stick too much tonally into the background as well. That's another thing to keep in mind. And also, let's just So where did the skeleton actual artwork go? First try? Okay. Is there a pre-comp for it or no? Okay. Yeah, no problem. Let me try something that may not work. It may go horribly wrong. I'm gonna pre-compose these. Like I said, I've never done this before with Duik, so there's a test. It might go sideways fast. Yeah, it already did. So what we could do is, I've got an idea. If I do an adjustment layer, put that at the top. I'm just experimenting here. I'm going to try and cool down the skeleton. No, wait. Let's get rid of hue. Try tint. White. So I just cooled it down a little bit. There's Skelly Walk. I'm going to test something out. Here's skeleton there that we cooled off. Desert Skelly is the background. I'm going to copy that. Paste it in here, put it below. So I cooled off the character by just hiding that pre-comp and doing an adjustment layer. You see what I mean? So now when I've got him over here, I can look at this, edit that. I can go to my tint, lock it, go here, look at it in the scene, and say, let's change that tint amount. Till we get it to like right around there. See how it's popping a little bit more because of the orange of the desert? Such. So, it's just something I was messing around with. Very nice. Do you have any idea of what your next scenes are going to be like, or are you still doing that James Bond turnaround? Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. It's looking really sharp. Great job. Like the art style. Anyone else have anything for me to look at? this is something I did in Duik ages ago. It's all Photoshop artwork that I rigged up in Duik. And the way I rigged mine, I don't know what yours did, but I was able to individually go through and change every parameter to get this incredibly realistic looking wall. Some people would swear that this was video, but it's not. It's actually done in Duik. Yeah, like I would need more parts, like maybe a circle here to fill in that part. You know, once you really start pushing a character rig, you can see where it breaks and what you need to do to fix it. Okay, so if no one else has anything else, we'll wrap up in 5 minutes. All right, so we'll stop it there for tonight. And Thursday, I'll be back on campus and we'll be going over video editing, and I'll have some new clips up for people to work off of. We're going to be following along with the lecture. Have a great night and reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns via email.